All right, guys, nice pop in the SPY today. We're back pretty close to all-time highs. And I'll tell you what, let me see. I'm going to show you one from today, this icon, because remember, I'll take today's candle out of it. I was watching this one for a push through 2. Said if it breaks 2, it might break that 215 and maybe squeeze, right? And you can see what happened today. My actual call in it felt like a little bit of a chase because I didn't catch it inside the opening range. Like I called it, took it at 197. Worst case stop. See that volume there? Worst case stop goes below this candle. For those of you in chat, you recognize that setup. It's one of our Tokyo plays. Doesn't quite meet the Tokyo parameters, except that I already knew this daily chart and I knew I liked it over 2. So even though it was already hitting new highs for the day, in other words, it wasn't inside of its opening range, I was still fairly comfortable taking this here, knowing I would stop it out right here because of this volume. In other words, it's going to have to pop like this and then take out this whole candle to the downside for me to be wrong. And you can see what happened. I mean, it went to 245. Really, really nice percentage move in that one today. And I think a lot of us got that one. So anyway, I wanted to highlight that because that has literally been on my watch list for probably a week straight. So I wanted to give you an example of how they're called on an intraday basis. That's not particularly what I'd call an A-plus setup, but because I liked the daily chart and I knew it had a chance to squeeze, it made perfect sense and gave a pretty low-risk setup when you consider 197 and a 190 stop. Plenty of R there, right? Anyway, all right, so what I'm watching for, what day is this? It's Thursday. Wow, Friday's here. What I'm watching for Friday is a CREG, huge move, down like 4 days in a row. A little bit of a bottoming tail, closed right at the whole number. Potential long setup tomorrow. We'll see. I'll only take these on, if I get a proper intraday setup. This AAOI, I still need this to break kind of this level, but if it gets over today, I had no trades in it today, by the way. If it gets over 46.12, it might then run up and take out this 46.60 and maybe squeeze to 50. I have no idea, but I'm going to watch that one. GBR, low floaters are going crazy lately. GBR wasn't interesting to me at all coming into today because you had that big pop and all the way back down. But then today we get an inside day, and a whole number there. So over 2, this is super interesting to me. As you can see from back here, GBR certainly can run. And so you've got an inside day. So if it gets over today's high, it might take out this high and maybe go crazy. We'll see. It's worth watching. IPDN, kind of the same thing as GBR, right? You had this big volume pop and then an inside day, maybe over 4, and certainly looks interesting over today's high of 430. Thinner stock, though. I mean, it only traded 723,000 today, so keep that in mind. EGLT. Very big volume today, and it ran on an intraday basis from 83 cents to 157 before closing at 115. You see, it looks like I wasn't around this afternoon. It looks like it halted. And then, maybe on news, I don't know. And then came out of the halt up here, ripped, and found support back about where it came out of the halt. So that one's definitely worth watching tomorrow. It looks like it's trading at $1.35 right now in after hours. So that's definitely going to be a potential gap play tomorrow. Okay, so that's EGLT. VRAY. Nice little breakout out of this range today on pretty good volume. It already feels like chasing because it's way up here away from the moving averages, but we'll see if we get any kind of low risk setup tomorrow. Sometimes you can get a play the very next day. OTIC gapped up, sold off, and then straight sideways for a week, and now it's kind of trying to resolve to the upside. Caught one trade in this today. Didn't make very much, but I made a few bucks. And it's interesting for maybe a continuation up over the recent high. So we're going to watch OTIC. CHFS, I feel kind of silly having this on watch because it's one of those that just made a stupid move from 368 to 24.45, I think. And then today, much lower volume and a quiet inside day. But, you can look at this and say, was this move justified? Of course it wasn't. But it also, I've seen these. Usually when you get a huge move on a low float stock, sometimes they'll just completely round trip over the next couple days. And then sometimes they'll come down and then you'll get this kind of secondary rip higher as shorts got in too soon and have to cover. So that's why I'll put something like that on watch, although it certainly feels like it needs to come in some more. QRHC had this big move on an intraday basis yesterday from 146 to 291. Then today a quiet inside day. So sometimes you get a third day setup in that, and I'm looking for that. ZX, kind of a same scenario, but a few days lower. You had the huge pop, a few days lower on declining volume. Back down, testing the 200-day from above this time after ripping through it 4 days ago. Pretty good setup for a potential bounce higher tomorrow. QD, recent IPO, which gapped up on it. Oh, well, gapped up. It opened here, about 3 weeks ago maybe? Sold off and then ripped higher the next day and then fell apart, put in a lower high, and now you're like 4 days lower. I don't know. I think if it comes down back near its all-time lows, which is, keep in mind, it's only been trading a few weeks, you might catch a bounce somewhere in this area. So we're going to watch that one. What else do we have? SORL had the gap up yesterday, sold off, and then another day, lower volume today. I think this one might be ready to try to turn back up tomorrow. We'll see, only with a proper intraday setup. And then lastly, FENG, which had a nice high volume, attempted a breakout 3 sessions ago, then an inside day, and then another inside day. So it's coiled. It might resolve to the downside. I'm looking for a potential resolve to the upside and a continuation of this breakout. So that one's on watch as well. Trade carefully out there. It's a little bit tricky, and we're in a scenario right now where chat rooms are jumping around going, hey, here's another low floater, here's another low floater. And I've been telling everybody in chat, when the market gets like that, it's sort of the beginning of the end of the fun, at least, on a short-term basis. So don't catch yourself chasing when people say, here's another low floater. Never chase, all right? Because this is the environment that'll teach you to chase, and you might get away with it, right? There's guys out there that'll teach you, they'll say, oh, I'm taking this long because my Momo scanner just picked it up, right? And it's traded like 30,000 on the day. And they can make it catch fire with 1,000 people in their room. And what'll happen is several people in that room will make a killing. It'll run up so fast it'll get a volatility halt, and then it'll open even higher. And the guy running the room will add first of all, adding or buying right out of a halt is not a strategy. It's a guess. So just keep that in mind. It's really easy to succumb to, oh my God, the market's easy, I'm killing it, right? Let me tell you something. When this stops, when the music stops, if you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get your ass handed to you, and you'll probably never be able to trade again. So there's guys putting up big numbers right now, not following any strategy other than, oh, I'm buying this at the open. I'm buying this because my Momo scanner picked it up. I'm buying this because it halted, but when it comes out of the halt, I'm going to add. And I'm telling you something, that's nothing but crap, and it's teaching you terrible habits. And if you're killing it right now, you think I'm an idiot. And you'll probably email me in a month or two and say, man, I wish I'd listened to you. So you really want to learn how to trade and not chase a Momo scanner. Don't chase anybody's calls out of a halt. It's 100% guess. And before too long, you get your ass handed to you. It's fun while it lasts. Don't get me wrong. It's fun while it lasts. But I just really want to caution people, if you want to be a professional trader and trade for a living and do this for the rest of your life, you have to protect your capital. You can't gamble. And you have to make your setups actually be setups, known, proven setups. All right. I can't emphasize that enough. A lot of people think, I preach too much or whatever. I'm really just trying to keep people in this game because this is the best. This is the best occupation I could ever imagine having. I love my job. I love getting up in the morning. My commute to work is awesome because I don't have to leave the house. So it's a great job, but you can either treat it like a casino, or you can learn to trade and make a living out of it. And the latter is a much better choice. I'm done babbling. See y'all tomorrow.